Well, this afternoon, all eyes are set on Assin North as Ghana's two major political parties are set for a fierce political battle with the potential to either increase their parliamentary seats or maintain what they already have. The big question remains, will James Kwesi be successful in his bid to return to Parliament? My colleague Ohim Intewia was in the area for the final rounds of campaigning.
Supporters of the New Patriotic Party defied a downpour on Sunday to attend the last open campaign of the party ahead of the by-election on Tuesday. President Akufo-Addo told party sympathizers he had no hand in the prosecution of the embattled Kwesi. Flanked by New Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate for Assin North, Charles Opoku, and some national executives of the party, he quizzed the difference between the prosecution of ex-member of parliament for Boko Central, Adam Sakandi, who was prosecuted and convicted for a similar offense, and that of Mr. Kwesi.
I say MPP for no many years ago. I say any Ruano, Ghana Mra, and Ruano, and Yemen and Baby Ruano, Ghana and Mra, and Ruano, and Yemen and Ruano. Then you will be our Ghana. I send the two and Yemen and other Emra and an old. Yampanis answer, who are born to because of whole way and say, Yanni be that. 6.5 years ago.
President Akufo-Addo appealed to the constituents of Assin North not to make a mistake by voting for someone who could end up in jail to derail development in the area. But in a swift response, former President John Dramani Mahama insisted President Akufo-Addo erred in comparing the Adamu Sakandi story to that of James Kwesi. He told party supporters at Assin North the embattled Mr. Kwesi would not be convicted since he did not flout the laws on dual citizenship.
Sakande dear, any Kwesi dear, Sakande called prison because for the intro or the passports this year. Kwesi, one passports next year. It is some of Mokase, Kwesi Beko prison, Kwesi Beko prison. Mijna Hakacham said, Nada, Uncle prison and net Uncle prison and China.
From Assin North for Joy News, Ohim Intewia reporting.
Well, as we speak, the race is heating on. We'll take you to the constituency shortly as we understand the IGP has been engaging some political parties and also bring you a breakdown of the numbers. But first, let's speak to the research agency Global Info Analytics, which has a research released out there that puts the New Patriotic Party's Charles Opoku in a slight lead ahead of the NDC's James Kwesi. Musa Dankwali is Executive Director for the group, joins us via Zoom now. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. Let's get to the figures. Are you suggesting, first of all, an outright win for the New Patriotic Party in this latest survey that you conducted? What's the rationale?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Not at all. I mean, the race is statistically dead heat. The difference between the MPP and the NDC candidate is 1.1%. Our margin of error is 1.9%. So it is within the polls margin of error. And in fact, the 1.1% represents 29 votes from the 2,500 interviews we conducted. So this is a really a close rate per the polls if we were to believe the poll numbers.
And when you say that there's still some significant number, amounting to some 6% plus, who are yet to decide on what they may be doing during the elections day proper, what's that to suggest? That the results could overturn and possibly the one who's the first runner-up may overtake the winner. Is that possible?
Very, very possible, because you have 6.9 voters who said they would make their mind tomorrow when they go to the polls. They couldn't tell us. Now, depending on how they break out, if they break out into Charles Polo, Charles will win. If they break out to get equations Polo, his equation will win. And beside that, there are evidence that people have not been entirely truthful in the poll. And if these guys go to the poll and become truthful to themselves and do something different than what they told us, the outcome could also be different.
You've been carrying out further research on the claims of vote buying. It's not allowed per electoral laws, but that seems to be a phenomenon that popped up. And you've been quizzing, quite a number of people on that. We'll get your thoughts on the issue about the vote buying and the dynamics there. But first, let's deal with the sudden turnaround in the figures, giving a slight lead to Charles Opoku. He's a new face in the race. James Jachikwesin has been there as the incumbent. What's turning all of a sudden the figures around?
I would say, if you put me to the wall, that I wouldn't blame Charles for what is happening in the race, because he had a comfortable lead about 4 weeks ago. And we thought, look, with this lead, it's highly unlikely Jachikwesin will catch up with him. But now we are at a point where he's leading by only 1.1%, when he had 19% lead 4 weeks ago. And we believe it is the campaign of MPP and probably the MPP that is damaging the candidate of Charles Opoku rather than the candidate himself. Because he is very popular in the constituency. They like him. Okay.
And when you say they like him, you believe that there are some external forces playing against him? What exactly? Musa, can you hear me? We'll try and get Musa Dankwa, who's the Executive Director for the Global Info Analytics, for you. And of course, what we are seeking to do is to break down the latest research done by the agency itself, the Global Info Analytics, suggesting that the NPP's candidate appears to be taking a slight lead there in that race. And there's also a finding on the issue about vote buying and the fact that it may influence decisions going forward into tomorrow's polls, which is just about, less than 24 hours from now. We're equally expecting that we'll get some explanation on that, on the figures, the issues surrounding vote buying shortly with the Global Info Analytics. Ohimin Tewia is also within the area. And he's joining us now. Ohimin, what can you report? There's also a meeting happening between the IGP and political parties.
Thank you. The meeting was called at the instance of the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akuko Dampare, and it was attended by the three political parties taking part in tomorrow's by-election. The National Democratic Congress, the NPP, and then LPG. Their leadership were there in their numbers, as well as the Electoral Commission officials, which they were also represented by the Director of Elections, Dr. Srimbo Fiku. The meeting was to discuss a security roadmap for tomorrow's by-election. If you recall, this is not the first time that the Inspector General of Police has introduced this meeting. In Sumeru, a day before the by-election, the Inspector General of Police did meet all the stakeholders in the elections and discuss the security roadmap with them. So this is an update of what happened in Sumeru.
Okay, grateful. And we'll be getting back to my colleague who would definitely join us with more updates on that. Ohimin Tewia giving us the latest. Musa is with us from the Global Info Analytics, and you just went off there at the point I was raising concerns and issues surrounding vote buying. You've also done some inquiry into that aspect of the factors that may influence the elections tomorrow. What did you find out?
I think two things mainly stood out. The first is the issue whether the developmental project that is happening now would have huge impact on the outcome. 70% of respondents said no, it wouldn't, compared to 30% who said it would have impact on them. Then the second question we asked them was, what would they do as voters if they were offered inducement to vote for a candidate? And surprisingly, 78% of them said they would take the money and vote for that candidate, compared to 16% who said they wouldn't take the money, vote against the candidate. But we also put intelligence that this response they were giving us, they were being sarcastic, frankly, because monies were being shared around. So who is he to say that he wouldn't take the money or he would take and vote against? So they were trying to play along, we believe, in this response.
So the reverse may be the case? Is that what you're suggesting? And that would be a big factor.
Yes, because I think they were of the view that, we are coming to sample opinion, which it will be used to give them money. So if they said, no, I will take the money, I won't vote for you, then they won't get the money. So they were telling our people in the field that, we'll take the money and vote for you. And sometimes they do mistake us to be government agents. So sometimes these things get a bit played along.
Yeah, but Musa, what you're trying to do now is to think for your interviewees.
No, it's not about think for them. But you see, as an officer in the field, you are also a human being. You know what people do. You know how things they say on the quiet, even if they are being sarcastic, you know. Because if that wasn't the case, 78% said they would take the money and vote for a candidate. Then we shouldn't have a very tough race.
Yeah, but what link then do we draw, for instance, to the sudden turnaround or change in the figures? If indeed 78% say we'll take the money, we'll vote, that should reflect in, what's happening with it.
Yes, there is. If this response has not been this high before, if you look at the figures, the comparative figures we had for this, this question at the time we did the first poll, in fact, you have a split where about 31% of them said they would take the money and vote for the person, and 44% said they would accept and vote against. So between the first period and now, that has changed. Something must have caused this to change dramatically. And I believe it was the incentive that was being offered. That's why these numbers have changed.
What sort of lived experience did you get from your interviewees on the claim itself about vote buying? Did they see that as a reality, something actually taking place, or this was a hypothetical question you were just asking because there's a possibility of that happening in any Ghanaian election?
No, we have clear cases of people giving us evidence of farmer gift taking in many places that we went to. So it's not an issue of hearsay. I've been given this. We were given this yesterday or last night or the morning before. I had this. It's an open secret in Assin North today, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, I'm interested in the detail. That's why I'm listening.
Voters. No, we've been to places where NDC were sharing cutlasses, Wellington boots, and so on and so forth. So there's also an inducement on their part.
Okay, I see. Now some of the projects going on, mind you, this is a contest that's taking place largely between the governing side and the opposition political parties. Then we have two other candidates joining. Why are you not going big on, for instance, these two other persons? Because mind you, they are all, first of all, female, and they belong to minority or lesser followed political groupings. Have you done some search on them as well and their potential, and how, of course, their following as well may change the dynamics in this election?
It doesn't do anything at all. The third candidate from Labour Party, he's pulling 0.3% in the race.
Yeah, 0.3, and there's the...
It's a two-horse race with a... I mean, not showing at all, frankly. They're not showing at all. So they won't have any impact at all on the race. Absolutely.
If that should translate into actuals, I mean, you were equating that. The 0.3% is not enough to determine what may happen I mean, the fate of either of the two major political parties. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely not. The fate of the parties rely on the people who are undecided, 6.9%.
Okay, and then the incumbency advantage and some I mean, that conversation has come up as to developmental projects also taking place. How is that influencing what's going to happen within the constituency?
Well, incumbency advantage is obvious. It's there, is being used. But you see, 70% of voters say that what the government is doing there in terms of developmental project will not have impact on their decision.
I see that you're quite precise and very straightforward with the answers you're giving me. You want me to do the interpretation, but many are wondering, I mean, how that will tell when we go when I mean we go to the Assin North area to witness that crucial elections tomorrow, and that's why I'm asking about these factors and how that will translate into the the voter parting and what will happen tomorrow. Okay, we've lost Musa Dankwa, who's with Global Info Analytics. Of course, they've gone into the figures, getting us a sense of what may happen within the Assin North area when the elections takes place tomorrow. We understand that the Inspector General of Police is within the area meeting leadership of the political parties, and we'll be getting to that area for you, getting you the very latest of what transpired, and if there is a briefing from the IGP himself and the Electoral Commission, as we understand, we'll get you updates. But there's also a research just coming through pointing to the fact that the New Patriotic Party's candidate appears to be taking a slight lead, but still with some 6% of voter population undecided on what they may do next, and giving the close gap between James Kwesi and, of course, Charles Opoku. It is likely that this will be a tough contest. And let me pick up your thoughts on that, Musa Dankwa, the possibility of a tie. Is that likely?
No, you don't have a tie commonly in the parliamentary elections. One vote can get you the seat.
Yeah, but you don't see that happening.
We had MPs in the past. No.
Yeah, because
there won't be a tie.
Looking at the fact that people are undecided, so if we were to split the 6% amongst the two main political parties
in the middle,
yes, what will happen then? And we have, I mean, those supporting the smaller parties deciding to opt for James Kwesi. That will be a split, isn't it? Musa, are you with us? And so Musa is just trying to give us a further breakdown on their findings. And also the question about the possibility of having a tie, he's ruling that out. And the NDC and the MPP still at least have some time, because we understand that in spite of the convention of having the political parties toned down on their campaigning, they're still doing that. And Musa, let's get to that aspect, the type of campaign that we're seeing, the fact that it keeps changing, the format and the strategy of the political parties keep changing over the period. These may be the defining moments of the elections. And if there's any one factor that will change things, it will be about the campaigning, the level of campaigning going on now. You agree that your research ended at some point. Is there a possibility that if the political parties do further work, i.e. campaigning, things may change in the next 24 hours in the favor of either of the parties?
It's very possible. I mean, when it comes to elections, the turnout is quite key. How you are able to drive out the vote is very important. In particular, if your voters are younger voters, you need to make sure that they come out to vote. If they don't, you will be in big trouble. And for this particular race, we can see that Charles Opoku is backed by younger voters, whereas J.G. Kwesing by older voters. Who will come out to vote tomorrow? Only God knows. We'll wait to see.
The rhetoric about the possibility of James Kwesing going to jail, did that come up in your findings?
Yes, we did ask. In fact, we asked this question specifically for people who were voting for Charles, whether their decision to vote for Charles has been influenced by the threat of jailing J.G. Kwesing. And 47% of Charles' supporters, people who were intending to vote for Charles, said that they were influenced by that. And that is quite a huge percentage to say that they were voting for Charles because they fear that their MP could land himself in jail. So they want to avoid that tragedy.
And we're not having sympathy, on the other hand, for James J.G. Kwesing?
There were those that have sympathy for J.G. Kwesing, but we're particularly looking to see those who are actually voting for Charles. Whether that was the key, because general people say, yes, I'll vote for Kwesing because of the intimidation. But we were focusing on knowing those who are actually voting for Charles, that is purely based on the threat of court jail or jail term.
Okay, if anyone is asking the question even about the integrity of your findings, how much can you go? To what extent can you go in
Absolutely.
defending these findings? Because mind you, and we've had that concern even from some leading figures within the New Patriotic Party. You've heard from, for instance, the former Agric Minister raised concerns about polls and how they may not be reflective of the reality within a particular contest. Why should we believe what it is that you've done within the Assin North area as a precursor to the elections tomorrow? Okay, we'll get Musa Dankwa for you shortly. We'll also be taking you to the constituency where, of course, the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Fiavikwete, will be making some comments shortly on this elections. The meeting with the Inspector General of Police has just ended. The opposition parties raising some concerns. So let's listen to the General Secretary of the opposition NDC address the press.
Very happy with the meeting called at the instance of the IGP and the police. We expressed a number of, shall I call it, reservations. One of those reservations we expressed had to do with whether we are going to have exactly what we had in Kumewu, where every single personnel of the police was identified. Said that we do not have any surprises. We do not have any national security operatives, any vigilantes that are wearing security outfit. We were given an assurance that that will not be the case. That every single person that will appear tomorrow will be wearing what you call, be properly identified with the name properly woven, not a name tag woven. And that for us is very important. We also sought clarity with regard to the use of what you call cameras or mobile phones in what you call the ballot box, and we were given an assurance that that will be enforced according to the law. It's not supposed to be there, and that assurance has been given as well. Generally, I would say at the level of the NDC pledge 100% commitment to ensuring that there will be peace. We actually stated unequivocally that not from our side would there be any instance of anything that will bring violence or lack of cohesion in the place. So that was an assurance we had. We are happy that our friends on the other side also made the same commitment. We hope this will be as genuine as we know ours is. So on the whole, the police gave us 100% assurance that just as we saw in Kumewu, we will see exactly the same level of what you call professionalism on the part of the police for there to be peace, harmony tomorrow, and let the best side win and win fairly. So I would say generally it's been a very good meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
A lot more of the leading figures of the NDC and the NPP out there. You just heard from the General Secretary of the NDC, and we'll be listening shortly to some other leading figures who are still there. Ohiming Teria is my colleague who's been engaging Fifi Fiavikwete and other leading figures of the party. Ohiming, who else have you been speaking to?
Yes, Blessed. I spoke to the NPP's national chairman, Stephen Ayesu, his team, on what the NPP intends doing with a roadmap, a spell-out with the IGP, the Electoral Commission, and all the political parties. We can take a listen to him.
You met today with the IGP and then your opponents. What was the discussion all about, and what is the outcome now?
It's all about tomorrow's by-election in Assin North, and centered on the role of the political parties versus the role of the Electoral Commission to ensure that there will be smooth running of the elections tomorrow. That's, if you ask me, then that's the direct answer that I can give you.
Your main opponents, the NDC, is pledging their support to ensure 100% support to ensure that police provide security and it will be incident-free. What about the NPP?
Yeah, I will endorse the same stand put up by the NDC. I think we are even stronger in that terms because we are going to win tomorrow. Therefore, it will be in our interest to ensure that electoral rules and regulations are allowed to operate tomorrow. What's the point in putting sand into your gari? We are going to enjoy it tomorrow. So that's the stance of the MPP.
One of the decisions taken was that there will not be firearms allowed at any police station. And by extension, ministers, MPs should not come there with their bodyguards. Is that a directive you equally endorse?
Well, I don't recall that they said they shouldn't come with their bodyguards, but they shouldn't be armed. That's what I heard. And I endorse it.
The issue of macho men being deployed, did that come up, and what is the firm decision that has been?
That did not come up for discussion, but I think it's a good topic. You were there, you could have, maybe you were not given the opportunity, otherwise you should have also raised that issue.
Yes, but of course, on your side, what is the pledge?
Like we did in Kumau, I see no ands, ifs and buts as far as the result of the election tomorrow. We have worked hard, our government has worked hard, and we are going to carry the day.
So, Chairman, does it mean that the party security will not be at work tomorrow?
I think that question should... Does what mean? You said, does it mean? What does it mean?
When you say you are giving your 100% pledge, does it mean that MPP, we are not going to see party security of MPP at work at the police station?
We are talking about the support of the voters to win. That's what I meant by giving you the assurance that we are going to carry the day tomorrow. So it's not about macho men, no.
I'm not talking about macho men. I mean party security. Are we going to see party security working alongside police come tomorrow from MPP?
Yeah, we have a full pledge to that. Yes, we are going to work in tandem with the police and all other security agencies that will be present at the election grounds.
Very finally, you talk about being very confident of victory. What gives you that assurance? You speak with confidence.
Our government has delivered. The president has delivered. And we have campaigned very effectively. So I see no reason why there should be surprises tomorrow as to the MPP carrying the day. We are going to win. The NDC was given the chance to run the constituency. They messed up with lies and all that, and the people have lost confidence in them. They were exposed. Somebody who was not permitted by law to contest here, they condoned and connived with him to contest, and he became the MP. So we are here to right the wrong.
Chairman, you had a very successful rally yesterday, finally.
Yes.
If I don't give you the opportunity.
Well, so that's it from Mr. Ntim, who happens to be the chairperson of the New Patriotic Party. You also heard from Fifi Fiavikweche. So the battle line is drawn. We're yet to hear from the Ghana Police Service, the IGP failing to make a comment as of now. We understand that the arrangement is the Electoral Commission, whom the police will address the press in a few hours from now. We'll keep our eyes on that for you. But for the past 24 hours, the political landscape in Assin North has been ablaze with the governing New Patriotic Party and its main contender, the NDC, storming one community after the other, of course, unleashing captivating messages in that attempt to woo voters to secure their support. This high-stakes showdown has never been witnessed before, and we're seeing the increasing rhetoric, explosive accusations, and also a promise as both political parties vie for the supremacy tomorrow. But amidst the tense atmosphere, the burning question remains: do these electrifying political rallies hold any sort of significance? Can they truly sway the minds of the electorate and leave the indelible impact on the upcoming elections? That's the question we're asking, and we'll definitely be taking you live to the heart of the constituency as in when matters unfold, and we'll be providing you with some first-hand information here on your election headquarters. But let me bring in Kobe Mensah, who's a political strategist, campaign strategist. He knows much more about issues relating to that. Dr. Kobe Mensah, thank you. Professor Kobe Mensah, I beg your pardon. Thank you for spending some time with us. You're a political marketing expert, so you know, of course, the psychology going into this whole sort of rhetoric that we've seen from the NDC and the NPP. First off, starting with this whole conversation around James Jachikwasin being a candidate for jail. How much of an impact will that be on the decision of the voters going into the polling tomorrow? Professor, Professor Kobe Mensah, if you can hear me, I'm just asking how much of an influence that will be, the rhetoric around James Jachikwasin being a candidate for jail, and you know, the back and forth between ex-President John Mahama and President Akufo-Addo. They've been having a banter over that, but would that really matter in the decision that will be made tomorrow by the voters?
Well, obviously, I don't think that on the scale of the importance, that's exactly what the voters are actually looking for. Clearly, there's a reason why we go to the vote, because people are concerned about their...
Professor Mensah, are you still with us? It appears we're having some challenges connecting to Professor Kobe Mensah, who's a political marketing expert at the University of Ghana Business School. Let me try one more time and see if Prof is still with us. Prof? Okay, you're watching The Pulse. We'll be right back.